everyone. I am Kritika Kumari, digital editor at the Museum of Art and Photography, Bengaluru, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the premiere of our very special Sounds of the City project. Produced by MAP in collaboration with the Berklee College of Music, Sounds of the City is a sonic engagement project where four music producers capture the sounds that best define their city and create music with it. From the noise of traffic to the calls of vegetable vendors, each city has its own unique oral quality that resonates with its inhabitants. In early September this year, we invited applications from musicians, composers, and sound designers from four metros in the country: Bengaluru, Mumbai, Kolkata, and Delhi, hoping to document sounds of cities from four corners of the country. Over the last few weeks, our four talented finalists have traveled the lengths and breadths of their respective cities, attended workshops, and exchanged notes amongst each other with an aim to document the fascinating and quirky sounds that fill the air of their cities. Combining the magic of musicality and the power of technology, the finalists have now spent several weeks brainstorming, recording, and rendering their own creative imaginations of bringing their cities alive. Each of them have produced an audio and video track as part of the project, and it is our pleasure to be releasing them this evening for the first time at Art is Life Sound Frames. I warmly welcome our four finalists: Abhishek Sekhri from Delhi, Nikhil Narendra from Bengaluru, Rahul Nadkarni from Mumbai, and Sourav Biswas from Kolkata. We are all looking forward to hearing about your experiences during the project, and of course, to travel through the cities that you come from via your ears. The mentor for the program and our facilitator for the evening, Berklee faculty member Yoel Genin, is a producer, composer, and guitarist, combining prog metal, fusion, and Middle Eastern influences into a new electronic context. As part of the Berklee Indian Ensemble, he has arranged and performed with some of the biggest Indian artists, such as Raghu Dikshit, Vijay Prakash, and Shankar Mahadevan. His exploration of breaking musical borders led him into the world of electronic music and to the creation of Shwesmo, an alter ego, setting all of his vast musical knowledge and style against a modern electronic sound to create something unique within the genre. Without further ado, over to you, Yoel.
Thank you very much, Kritika. That was really cool. Just for all of us, I think this is a very exciting moment. And for the last few weeks, we've been working together, just as you said. They've been working mainly. I've been just like hearing stuff and giving some notes here and there. But I think we got four really talented and creative producers here that we were able to choose. And I'm super happy with everything, especially happy with the diversity in sound that we have in this project. I think each and every one of them approached this in a little bit of a different way. And it just goes to show how vast the array of electronic music can be, the approaches, the way you think about music, the composition, the arrangement, and everything, as you're going to see and hear in a minute. And I think that was really almost mind-blowing for me, and really inspiring for me as a musician, as a producer. After our sessions, I straight away just kind of had to make some music, and I got really inspired by you guys. So really great job. I can't wait to hear the very final products. And today they're going to share a little bit with us about the progress. I think everyone would love to hear a little bit about how you got into this project, how you found out about it, and how you collected your sounds from the cities. Did you find anything new that you didn't know about your city? What do you think is unique about it? And then we would love to see a little bit of the process. Let's start maybe with Abhishek. You want to take it over and tell us a little bit about your piece?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so first of all, I'm really glad to be selected for this for this opportunity to go out and record and make a track based out of the sounds in the city. And I think I got to know, I've been living in Delhi now for 29 years, and I got to know the city in a way that I could not had this project not happened. And so when I stepped out to record, I realized Delhi is not just one thing, but rather a diverse collection of sounds, and the diversity of cultures and the people there are make the city what it is. And Delhi is both noisy, crowded, fast, yet like serene and peaceful. And I wanted to showcase that through my song. And I wanted to go out and explore the parts of Delhi that are the least explored, but they still are really important to Delhi. Like there is a river that flows through Delhi, Yamuna, and I went there. I recorded the sound of the boat and the sound of the paddle, chappu as we call it here, is what makes the main rhythm for my track. And I layered it with sounds of Chandni Chowk, which is the busiest market in Delhi. Then the namaz being read out at Jama Masjid. Then Gurbani is it's a prayer in Gurdwara. Then morning sounds from Lodi Garden, and there was much more. So I think the whole process was very enriching for me in terms of getting to know my city, and just even from the angle of trying to learn how to record sounds outside the studio.
Amazing. Did you have anything was difficult for you while recording? Like, did you find anything that was really annoying or didn't go well?
I mean, like I said, Delhi is one of the noisiest cities, so a lot of my sounds are from busy markets. So I had to either be very close to the source, and so that was one of my challenges, how to get least amount of background noise. But I think I got through it after a few tries.
I think so too. I think you did a great job isolating those. Cool.
Yeah.
Did you have a plan when you went out, or did you just go out exploring and recording?
I think I did not have a plan when I started, because I wanted to go out with a very open mind of let's have no idea and let's just go and record. Of course, I had a list of places I wanted to go to, but apart from that, no idea for the song, because I wanted the song to be formed out of what I captured, and that gave me ideas. So I had no idea.
Yeah, I think that's a great approach, and also being inspired by your city, by the sounds. I think it's
exactly. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. That's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I think apart from the sound of the paddle of the boat, like which makes the main rhythm for the track, the sound of the train was the most like sort of so this thing for me, like impressive for me, because I realize it follows like a rhythm, and I use that to layer to the sound of the rhythm like at certain point in the track. And uh, I was also very fascinated with the sound of the namaz and the gurbani, which are both prayers in different religions in India. That also shows like the secularism here, and so I wanted that to be a part of the track, because that's like, I think that's what is making the track sound a little big to me. Okay, all right. So my song starts with the namaz, which is the prayer. Then I've laid up the morning sounds recorded at Lodi Garden with it. You see that here. I've kept these two things. I've kept mostly the same as what I recorded. I didn't do major any alteration to the sound apart from mixing it. And the sound of the boat, I'll isolate that and make you guys listen to it once. It's second.
Yeah, that's my favorite sound there.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, this is so again, this was obviously, it wasn't exactly the same, and I had to do some warping to it and some change of the timing to make it sound like a rhythm. And I split these into different tracks so I can pan around different parts of the sound of rowing the boat, so it sounds a little fuller as a rhythm. And that's why I split them into tracks. And uh, I made the bass out of again, this was something that I grasped out of the workshop with Yoel, that I recorded the sound of the juice maker at, outside the railway station. It had a lot of low frequencies, and that's what I used in the wavetable synthesizer to make the bass sound of the bass. It sounds like pretty cool, like as it is, like it's just doing the job for me. And yeah, I've used the sound of the horns of the train as transition to the next part. If you hear this, which was also like, I think, a learning point for me, that I could use the sound of the train as a transition in the track. So this basically, it just goes from left to right, and then it goes to the next part of the song. So yeah,
That's a lot of
I think these were a few things that was interesting.
Cool.
amazing, man. Yeah, I think we're all gonna see how everyone has a different approach and different kind of outcome for everything, and I really love what you came up with. I think it's great.
So, a couple of years ago, I was just, I do some sound design for commercial projects every now and then. And it's not very easy to find an inexpensive sound archive of South Indian cities, especially. So that kind of made me think about maybe developing like a sound archive, like as a part-time thing. It's been a super slow process. But a couple of sounds that I managed to get over the, in the last year or two was, I'm just going to play you a snippet if that's okay. So this was the sound of people just, like there's an exercise group in Cubbon Park that kind of congregate every morning, and they just make the craziest sounds. So. So then I discovered this one morning and I just recorded it, and then I kind of thought about building my own sound archive of just unique things in Bangalore. So and then when I got when I was notified about the map application, I got super excited because I thought like this would just like kind of drive that same effort forward of maybe trying to build a sound archive and making music out of it. So that's what excites me the most about the project, because I was kind of doing field recordings before this anyway. So
Credit.
yeah. So should I just start with the track then?
Yep. Yep. Amazing. I love how you got into these little loops that sound so like intricate and almost like it's like crossing the borderline between electronic and kind of almost kind of alien sounds and very human and organic sounds at the same time. So that's, I think, a really interesting and amazing achievement that you had with this.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, so I'll just get into it. So I think I started with just forming like a base level rhythm that would then carry the track forward. It's kind of rhythmic for the first half and then gets into like more ambient territory towards the second half. But so it started with a few ideas like this. So I record these sounds at an antique store. It was just a Valve radio recording. I'll just play that 1 sec.
Sound different sounds Bengaluru.
The next sound was this gramophone recording. And also, I recorded this thing at this indoor auditorium that had this live orchestra playing. So I think I started with the orchestra and just tried to do something with it because there was a nice little guitar lick in the middle of all that chaos. And that's this. So basically, I just took the that portion of the recording and I just added an arpeggiator, and without it, it sounds like. But the start of the sample keeps changing because I've set an LFO internally to. It's got this cool feature where you can change the sample offset. So every time you hit a note, it triggers the sample from a different point. And with the arpeggiator, so that's how that sound is made. That's kind of layered with the same chord that's also being arpeggiated of these bells that I recorded at like an emporium store. I don't know if you can hear that well because I think my sound's in mono and this thing is being panned like crazy.
Yeah, but it still sounds crazy. Yeah. Is this arpeggiated in like octaves to go up and down octaves? Kind of?
Yeah, it's in steps of it's
Right.
I think it's just jumping one octave and back, but it's arpeggiating the entire chord.
Nice. Yeah, and that way it also keeps it the same chord, which is nice.
Yeah. The other thing is I recorded this typewriter at another store, and then I kind of made like a pattern. The earlier examples I started the video with was the Valve radio thing, which was actually just a layer of noise recorded straight from the speaker of the Valve radio, but it had some transient content in it, so I kind of ended up making a rhythm. The stutter's coming from a Max MSP plugin, which I'll just show you in a moment. And also the gramophone recording that I played, I kind of chopped up and kind of made these little like melodic grooves. So all these rhythmic elements are grouped, and it's just going through this kind of sputter edit, it's called. And I didn't even know I had this plugin. I just threw it on there and it sounded cool, so I just let it be.
That one is new for me. That's really cool. I gotta.
It's cool. I mean, you can set the intervals in which it kind of does like either random stutters, or I think you can really go in and dial in very specific things. It's kind of like beat repeat.
That is so cool. Nice. I think what's unique about your way of doing things is these layers. I think that's the kind of the secret sauce to what you do. I think all these layers kind of happen together, and really, I think you put it together very nicely and gently. Kind of everything fits in its own place, and eventually sounds like one big instrument that plays this kind of crazy thing. And I think that's maybe how you get this kind of unique sound. So yeah, thank you so much, Nikhil, for sharing
Thank
this
you,
with us.
Yoel. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the reason I applied is actually very similar to what Nikhil said. I've been getting into sound design for a while now, and there are no archives of sound really available here for whether that's for our cities or for nature or anything like that. So I thought this might be a nice way to just start building a small archive of my own. So since it is so noisy here, and it's almost impossible to get to isolate sounds and hear them on their own, I picked up one of these, which is a little contact mic, and you usually use this to tune up instruments, but it works pretty nicely even if you just hook it up to a machine or to anything, and it's got its own sound. It's not, the quality is like really lo-fi and mid heavy, but it was interesting. Just this is the first time I'm trying it out, so
Really cool.
yeah, it was interesting trying to even find the right place to clip the sound to get the sound right and all of that. So
Nice. Just for the
so
people who are not musicians or producers out there, how hard is it to put your hands to something like that? Is it something you can just buy really easily somewhere in a music store or something?
yeah, it's really cheap as well. So it's yeah, anyone can just pick this up and start collecting sounds. Just, I mean, a disclaimer on the quality though. It is what it is. So, but the bigger idea that I had about which sounds to collect, and because there's so much, right? As soon as you step out, there's so many things that you can go and record. And just to narrow it down for me, I was thinking about how the soundscape of the city's changed since the time I was a kid. And one of the things that is changing is that certain jobs and certain sounds no longer exist. They've been kind of phased out. They've become defunct. So the idea that I wanted to kind of pursue was to collect sounds that I think will maybe in, I don't know, 100 years or more maybe disappear from the city. So
Amazing.
yeah, that was the broad idea. I don't know how how much success I achieved in 2 weeks, but yeah.
But I think we were able to differentiate. I love how meditative this one is.
So what I haven't actually done a whole lot of kind of mangling the sound or reshaping it. I wanted the kind of the acoustic signature to stay. Like I wanted that to be the focus of what the track is. So this is the main that machine noise that you hear. So it's of someone making a couple of keys, which I think is it's quite likely that that'll be obsolete at some point. So this was basically the contact mic hooked up to one of the arms of the machine, and this is a whole take. The whatever I've cut out and these little splits that I've made is just to you do get a lot of handling noise. So every time the guy touches the machine or something, you get these really sharp transients. So I've just kind of cleaned that up. The layers under that are parts of the
Sorry that I'm stopping. Can we hear a tiny bit of that just by itself to hear how
Yeah.
that sounds?
Is it too low?
Oh no, we can hear it. Yeah, that's good.
So underneath, I have different portions of the same take, but I've pitched these up because kind of to bring out some of the harmonic content that's kind of hidden here. I've pitched these guys up, and I've basically this is only going to the reverb send here, so just so that it doesn't get really stuffy hearing copies of the same thing. So I've EQ'd most of the lows and low mids out of these guys, and that's basically just going to the reverb. So what that did is basically just brought out the pitch variations in the sound of the machine. So it gave me something to. It kind of brought out where the musical part of that thing is. I mean, listening noise can be, especially here, you tune it out like that because you don't want to hear any more of it. But it was interesting to listen closely to noise again, and yeah, just look for music in there rather than try and change it too much. So
Hey Rahul, I had a question. I see you use some denoising on the sample.
yeah,
Was it just like the contact mic noise, or like was it like a static sound that the contact mic just has, and so it was easy to clean up, or did you have to go and surgically like take things off the?
it a little bit of both, I would say.
Okay.
So see, you've got a lot of noise here. So basically, this is the machine is it's filing the key, right? So you have that really painful frequency that's there throughout. So I
Okay.
couldn't have that much of it, so I had to get rid of a lot of this. And contact mics also pick up a lot of interference and things like that. So
Cool.
this was, I mean, it's really heavy-handed. I wouldn't do this otherwise, but for this, it kind of made sense for just to make this sound a little better. So there's a denoise happening. There's clicks again whenever the key has to move within the machine. You get this cluck cluck kind of transient. So woody kind of thing. So just got rid of some of that. Yeah, the rest is, I mean, nothing much. There's a EQ and LFO controlling just volume a little bit so that you have some more dynamic instead of otherwise the whole thing is already quite like ambient and flat in that sense. So just to create a little bit of push pull.
Cool.
So that was yeah. The rest of it is only guitar. The the drone chord kind of stuff that's going on behind is with a pedal called Freeze by Electro Harmonics. Have any of you guys used it?
No.
Okay. So it basically just creates like this, takes a micro sample and creates a endless loop for as long as you like. So again, I basically just use the pitch that's inherent in the key maker sample. So which was like A sharp A. That was basically the how the tuning was going, and I just played the chords, froze it, and yeah. So what it gave me at the end was these 4 different harmonies, you could say.
We do have to move on, but I would love to hear just a snippet of
Yeah, sure.
of the other harmonic key things that you did, just so we can understand exactly what's going on there.
Okay, I'm just playing the E. Yeah, so 3 different chords just switching around. Yeah,
That was the
and
key.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, that was the freeze pedal basically.
Perfect.
And just the last thing is these EBO groups, which again is only going to the reverb, but you can just have a listen to it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing.
We have to move on, but I think this one, I think for you, if just to kind of pinpoint on something that I really liked is that how the noise what you hear as noise in the beginning actually turns into like notation and musical context. Once you put a harmony behind it, suddenly it gives like a totally different point of view, because suddenly, oh, the same thing, the melody on a different chord now. And thing brings out the musicality of any noise.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to get this chance. Means like I had planning once. Okay, I'll start from the beginning. As a kid, there used to be this one show called MTV Sound Tripping, and she did. And as a kid, that inspired me like a lot. Means it had like she had gone to this places like in Punjab and Goa, and then in like in Kolkata also she did. So I'll be honest, when I applied for this, I had that whole idea, that mindset in my head that okay,
Nice.
I'll try to follow that the way she had approached that idea. So thinking of that, so the next thing that it's like okay, now that was the basic approach for the song, but one thing that anybody usually associates with a bong or a Kolkatan is either fish or it's sweets. Rashogolla, usually the sweets or the fish. So, so initially when I even applied for this idea, so I had this whole idea that I'll talk about this obsession that the people of Bengal / people of Kolkata have with fish. And the way one of the the most generic thing that you can hear anywhere across the city is fishmongers. Even during this lockdown, also they would come to your home and they will speak out a lot of fishes name and they'll sell. So that was one of the approach. I wanted it to be the very core of this idea. So I'll present the track once and I guess I'll talk about it.
Hey, mate! Hey, तुमसे बोला बेटी रुई बड़ा पीवा लगा जन्नत मार दे! বোঝাতে
তোর আমার ভালোবাসা চুনো মাছের জাল বোয়াল কিলো 1000 টাকা তাই কিনিনি কাল তোর আমার ভালোবাসা চুনো মাছের জাল বোয়াল কিলো 1000 টাকা তাই কিনিনি কাল সর্ষে ভাপা ইলিশ যদি পেতাম আমি পাতে তুই আমি দুজন মিলে খেতাম গরম ভাতে সকাল সকাল বাজারেতে ভাবনা হলো মাটি চুনো মাছের ঝালি ভালো খেতে ফাটাফাটি খেতে ফাটাফাটি
Nice. Love the ending, man.
So actually, so the another idea that I had picked up was the idea of because Kolkata is also the place for Durga Puja, and during this month of October, November, there are like the series of pujas which goes on, and there are these dhakis. It's like an instrument which is in Bengal, percussion instrument. So dhak and kasha is pretty much associated with puja. And also this ulululu, this the sound of that woman. That, it is called jagor in Bengali. It is called as jagor. So and the conch sound. So this is the most generic sound. And during this even today there is celebration going around for some Chagratri Puja something. So even till yesterday this was pretty often. Even when I was working, it felt like okay, am I hearing it here or are people are actually doing it? It went like that. So from the production point of view, so one of the things which I one of the things which I actually picked up from workshop was Yoel had actually told that you can take any sound basically and you can bring it down to its very close till it becomes a sine noise.
Yeah.
So I basically used that as an idea and made okay, sorry. So this is I actually came up something this close, and this was basically one of the records that I did in Fish Market. And like Abhishek already said, like it was so noisy. One of the approaches why I actually quit the idea and thought that no, I'll rather sense out and play music with it was because the records got so noisy at times that I was not able to chop it out. So I thought rather that I'll take snippets of it and make sense. Like this sound is basically if I this is basically something like okay, this is too heavily modded. Like people talking. It's in some key, but it's basically it's just a simple recording of people talking and like there is bass and rumbling going on. But what I did was basically I just brought it like very close, like you'll show that was actually a very nice trick because now I can do it and I can change this and actually it makes nice grooves also. In doing this I got to learn about this, and I think Nikhil also approached it in similar manner somewhere.
I've used this technique before.
Yeah,
not this tiny. For this project, not this tiny. I didn't get into granular like that level.
Actually, this was the first for me. I got like very much, okay, you can do this. So, okay, I used this idea. So I approached it like that. Then another interesting like this similar way I went for was, oh yes, one thing which I actually asked Yoel because about this, that I had got one, I mean, I made one of my friends listen to this track and he actually liked it, and he said that I'll rather write something for you. So it's him singing here. So I got my phone, I kept the idea, and okay, I'll get it in the least way possible. So I took my phone and got it recorded. So he basically wrote this idea about, I mean, so like we had this discussion, like with this price rising in this whole country, the way we are seeing it with oil rises and oil price rising and all. So the price of fish has gone so high now that there was, means we friends were once discussing that it might become that, means I made this whole point that fish and Kolkata's associate, but it might happen that Kolkata stop having fish. So because it is getting like, and the price range is just getting higher and high. So in the lyrics it says that like there's this guy who's trying to give present a big fish to his love, but he's unable to do that because the price is so high. So he's saying like, doesn't matter, I'll get it is the best. So it is. So, and this was on the approaches of Baul music. So Baul is
Yeah.
another like music which is associated with Bengal. So I tried to use those ideas and incorporate it in the song. And I tried to make a song out of it. I don't know, Miss.
Yeah,
And
amazing, man.
I took that approach.
Yeah, I think that's what's nice, and like I said in the beginning, what differs each one of you in your approach, and I think the fact that this is a type of music or a type of song, as you said, that is still tied, to the location you're at. I think it's definitely legitimate, and I think it's cool that I think what unique about your project is that it turned into like this cool groovy song, right? And it's actually a song, and I didn't know that this is what it meant. So now that you say what it means, it's all connected to that story, right? Of of your city and of now in your city, right? With the prices rising and all this kind of even connecting to COVID and this whole thing that's going on all around the world. So I think that's awesome. All right, guys. So I think we're at a wrap. Yeah, Sourav. Oh, you could just stop the sharing. That would be great.
Okay.
So I thank you all for sharing your amazing projects with us. I think um, now all the people know what I was talking about in the beginning, how each and every song or musical piece that you made was so unique and so cool in its own way, and I really was impressed by all of you guys' work and really inspiring. Hopefully, this is going to be inspiring for everyone that's watching it and send people to get just go and record stuff, and maybe even not record, but even people who are not musicians will just listen a little bit more, and I'm sure they'll pay more attention to how their city sounds like, what's the unique things that are going on, because I feel like music a lot of times is or sound is the thing that's overlooked when you think about, oh, what represents a place, right, or a city. It's a lot about smells, foods, how it looks, and all that. So I think that's a great way to open that door to people. Yeah, so thank you so much. I'm really glad you were able to make these musical pieces for us, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
really,
Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
feedback, Yoel.
Yeah.
absolutely. It was a pleasure working with all of you, and thank you so much to Map for facilitating this whole thing. I think it was an amazing idea, and thank you,
Yeah.
Annette, for making that connection again, and all the team here that have been supporting us and just making this happen in the best way possible.